Millions and millions of Americans are about to be affected because Medicare and Medicaid, those changes are imminent in 2025. Today I'm going to break down what's happening and what the Trump administration is now doing to try to further their agenda. Experts do say that this is going to be good news and it's going to be great news for the American people, but it's going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to break down what's happening and how you could be impacted over the next several months. But I'll break all this down in just a moment. But all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So how is Medicare and Medicaid going to change in 2025? Well, in order to understand how this is going to change and the effects that we're going to see, you need to understand what the Trump administration and the Department of Government Efficiency is doing right now with other agencies. Look at this. It says DOGE targets Medicare agency looking for fraud. It says USAID has already been gutted following scrutiny by Musk and DOGE. Now, what is really happening? Well, what you need to understand is that the USAID, that had about 10,000 people that were working for it. Well, look at this. It says Trump administration to lay off nearly all of the U.S. aid agency's staff. What we now know is that instead of the 10,000 people that used to work at the U.S. aid agency, we're going to see about 290 people. That is it. Okay? That is all we're going to see according to reports. Now, how is this going to play into Medicare and Medicaid? Well, it's simple. The Trump administration and Elon Musk, who's heading up the Department of Government Efficiency, they're looking for ways to eliminate waste and stop the fraud. Well, look at this, okay? And this is why I want to show you this. Elon Musk's team now has access to Medicare and Medicaid records. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, I don't want him to have access to my records. Well, here's why this is very important. I want to read this to you. It says, why it matters. It says, as they march through the federal bureaucracy, Musk and his team now have a seemingly unfiltered view of the sensitive inner workings of much of U.S. healthcare. Keep in mind of what happened over the past 4 years. We were being told that inflation's coming down. We were being told that there's plentiful, right? We were being told all these different stories. We were being told that, okay, this is what's going on with the jobs market. And then months later, there's a revision and the market looked worse than it actually was. Well, it's because of the previous administration. What they were doing was somewhat lying to the American people. They were falsifying numbers. And they were doing so in order to really further their own agenda. But at the same time, and we're still early on in the Trump administration, but what has happened now is that nobody believes what they were being told from the past 4 years. And so now the Trump administration, the Department of Government Efficiency, every single lawmaker is looking into what actually happened over the past several years. And were they being lied to in order to pass certain bills? If that was the case, which it looks like it was, then they're going to look into all this information themselves, which again brings us to where we're at right now. Look at this. It says DOGE is looking for examples of waste, fraud, and abuse as it pursues opportunities for more effective and efficient use of resources. Goes on to say, but it's not clear how wide a net it's casting or how it's defining those words. Now, here's what I can tell you. According to reports just from a couple days ago, it says DOGE officials are honing in on Medicare and Medicaid offices. Okay, I want to read a little bit of this one to you as well. It says right here, it says the CMS did not reply to request this. To clarify, so CMS has 2 senior agency veterans, one focused on policy and one focused on operations, who are leading the collaboration with DOGE including ensuring appropriate access to CMS systems and technology. It says we are taking a thoughtful approach to see where there may be opportunities for more effective and efficient use of resources in line with meeting the goals of President Trump. These programs are about to see some big changes, okay? And I want to explain why. If we do not see changes to these programs, we are going to continue to see our federal deficit increase because funding has to keep going up in order to fund all these different agencies and different programs. Think about this for a second. And I was talking to somebody just recently, actually in the past probably a couple months, and they were telling me that for government contracts, especially for military contracts, these contractors have to spend the money. They cannot go back to the federal government and tell them that, we didn't need all the $100 million you gave us. We only used about 60 million. So we don't need the other 40 million. No. If they do that, then they know the next year they're not going to get any more money. It's actually going to go less. So there's going to be less growth, less investment, and their businesses are going to suffer as well. So what do you think all these different government contractors do? They say, oh, you gave me $10 million last year? Well, it wasn't enough. I actually wasn't able to continue to grow and to do my research and develop these new features or functions and weapons, whatever. I actually need about $15 million. And Congress is probably going to come back and say, $15 million, that's too much, but we'll give you 11. We'll give you 12 million. And even though they may only have spent $6-7 million, but they have to go in and say, no, we spent it all. That's what every single agency does. Okay, that's what every single agency has been doing for decades. It's nothing new. The American people know about it, or should, and Congress knows about it. But how do they prove it? That's what the Department of Government Efficiency is there for. Look at this. It says DOGE team members have also visited the Atlanta offices of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and asked for sensitive information from the agencies. It says DOGE staff have been given read-only access to database, including information on contracts the agency maintains, according to the Wall Street Journal. It goes on to say, the Wall Street Journal reported that DOGE is also looking at the technology used by CMS and its organizational structure. CMS did not respond to questions on specific systems DOGE staff have access to or how long the review is expected to last. But what we do know is that this review is going to continue until there is some proof that yes, there has been fraud, there has been waste. But how is this going to impact Medicare and Medicaid? Well, here's what you need to know. Medicare and Medicaid, according to reports, and again, this is still very early, so I want to be very clear on this, we are still trying to figure out where this waste is coming from. Okay? Now, yes, certain doctors and healthcare facilities have been paid more than what they should have been, but the contractors, the workers at these different departments are not checking to make sure that they are paying for services that were actually rendered. Okay? Not only that, some of these office buildings, we don't need them. We don't need that many people in them. We don't have that many staff. Many people are working from home. So why do we continue to maintain these office buildings? At the same time, according to reports just the other day, we learned that 60,000 people from the federal government actually took that delayed resignation. That could be huge. That could be a big deal. But again, the reason why I'm telling you that these changes to Medicare and Medicaid are imminent in 2025 is because Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency are going to do everything that they can. And according to Elon Musk, and I want to read this to you, he says right here, this is where the big money fraud is happening, in Medicare's agency. Okay? Now, I don't know how much fraud they're going to find. I don't know what the extent of it's going to look like. You don't know if people are going to go to prison because of it. But what you do know is the Trump administration is going to slash funding. he is going to do everything he can to rein in spending. Number one, he has to pay for all these deportations and the immigration fight. We know that. He also has to pay and figure out ways to pay for his tax cuts and Jobs Act extension, which again expires at the end of 2025. So he has to do that. But there's so many more priorities that he wants to accomplish as well. So we're going to see what happens. But all I can tell you right now is there will be changes. The only thing is we don't know exactly what they're going to look like or how many people they're going to affect. But as we get more information on this, I promise I will bring you all the latest news and updates. But that's what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.